Hello friends, today our topic is principles of software testing. Software testing is a procedure of implementing software or the application to identify the defects or bugs. For testing an application or software, we need to follow some principles to make our products defect free, and that also help the test engineer to test the software with their effort and time. So there are seven principles, and these principles are: testing shows the presence of defect, not their absence. Exhaustive testing is impossible. Early testing saves time and money. Absence of error is a falsery. Defect clustering together. Be aware of pesticide paradox. Testing is context dependent. Now let me explain each and every principle briefly. The first principle is testing shows the presence of defect, not their absence. Testing can show the defect are present but cannot prove that there are no defect. So, 100% testing and to make sure the software is 100% bug free, it is not possible. Testing reduces the probability of undiscovered defect remaining in the software. But even if no defects are found, testing is not a proof of correctness. Second principle is exhaustive testing is impossible. Uh, Testing everything, all combination of inputs and preconditions is not feasible except for trivial cases rather than attempting to test exhaustively. Risk analysis, test techniques, and priorities should be used to focus test efforts. Now, the third principle is early testing saves time and money. This principle basically explains as soon as the product development or project is initiated, we should start the software testing. So, to find a defect early, both static and dynamic, the test activities should be started as early as possible in the software development lifecycle. Fourth principle is defect clustered together. A small number of modules usually contain most of the defect discovered during pre-release testing or is responsible for most of the operational failure. In the software industry, we generally follow this 80-20 principle, where we generally think or we generally understand like 80% of the bugs will be present in the 20% of the application. So we have to figure it out what are the core 20% part of the application where we generally found all these 80% of bugs. Now the fifth principles is be aware of pesticide paradox. So if the same tests are repeated, eventually these tests no longer find any new defects. To detect new defects, existing test and the test data may need changing, and new test may need to be written. Tests are no longer effective at finding defects, just as pesticides are no longer effective at killing insects after a while. So we need to make sure the test case should be updated after some time, again and again. The sixth principle is testing is a context dependent. This principle basically explains that testing is done differently in different contexts. For example, safety critical industrial control software is tested differently from an e-commerce application. For safety critical industrial control software, we generally need to make sure the safety features more, and but in e-commerce we will have lots of data. We need to make sure the mm, performance things over there. We need to make sure the user friendliness of the application. This principle basically explain for each and every software, for each and every domain of a software, The context of texting these things are different. And the seventh and the last principle is absence of error is a falsy. So some organization accept that tester can run all possible tests and find all the possible defects, but principle 2 and first respectively tell us that this is impossible. Further, it is a falsity that is a mistaken belief to expect that just finding and fixing many defects will ensure the success of a system. So, the last principle basically explain that if you think that your software does not have any defect, so it is myth, like a software cannot be 100% bug free.